Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here, coming at you from my BlizzCon hotel room. Rastakhan'S Rumble, boys! That's the new Hearthstone expansion. How about that? I'm going to give you guys the first look at the expansion that we have today. Just give you guys my very first initial opinion. We tried to stream the kind of watch-along for the BlizzCon open ceremony where they talked about most of the stuff. Man, they had a lot of tech issues. So did we. They were going to announce the Hearthstone thing. It was going to be like the third or fourth announcement, and they had no sound. The guy kept going. The guy's name was Ben. He was like the anti-brode. Oh man, we felt real bad for the guy. But anyway, Rastakhan'S Rumble, boys. That's what we're getting. It is, I think, a deceptively fun expansion. I often talk about how Hearthstone is just, it's the game that does one thing that's miles ahead of everyone else, and that's kind of like the themes of the game. And let me tell you, one of the big themes in the game are just the original style of characters. Take the troll card that we have in the game, Taz Dingo, the 4-mana 3/5 taunt. He's just so lovable. They have so much flavor, so much character in these cards. And we have an expansion that's kind of based around troll warriors, at least largely based around troll warriors, with some pretty interesting new mechanics. So I feel, without a doubt, there's going to be a real lovable side to this expansion. Now, we're getting some new mechanics. We're getting Overkill. I'll talk about that in a second, how it relates to one of the cards they announced. We're getting Troll Champion Legendary Minions. Again, they did reveal one of those for us, so we'll get to see what that will be like. And we get Rumble Run, which is basically like Dungeon Run, but honestly, I'm not going to expect that it's going to be as good or better than Dungeon Run because, well, we had like Monster Hunt, and Monster Hunt was very much Dungeon Run Light. So expect Dungeon Run Light 2.0. A few pre-purchase orders. If you guys want, you can see the trailer here. Rastakhan'S Rumble. Yeah, let's just quickly go through it. Basically, trolls in middle of Stranglethorn. They have super cool, crazy abilities, and they want to beat each other up in some kind of arena. That's basically the theme of the expansion. We got 4 cards. I'll review these in a moment. Yes, there's some new skills. There's like spirits or something, and the Loa is like the big legendary card that kind of has synergy with a lot of other stuff. So, and this is the Rumble Run. So in the Rumble Run, you choose your team. You get a random selection of troll champions. You get to pick among them, and it gives you powerful minion on the board at the start of each match. So you basically start with something in play. It's going to be very different than regular Hearthstone, and I think that is vital to the mode being entertaining. Anything new, like fundamentally, mechanically new in Hearthstone, is going to be very refreshing. Shrines, you and your opponent both start with your shrines in play. Your shrine grants you special boon tied to your Loa. Your Loa is like your big card. And advance in Rumble and add powerful spell and mini cards to your deck as you progress. Very much like, identically to Dungeon Run and Monster Hunt. And they have some pre-purchase bundles. I don't know why these are in EU. I'm at the hotel here by BlizzCon, so I don't know, but whatever. People were saying that they're okay priced packs. With the Challenger bundle, you get the card back. I think the card back is pretty whatever, nothing crazy there, and this is a better deal than if you were to just buy the packs themselves. So if you're just going to buy a few packs, that's fine. And the Rastakhan'S Rumble, you get the card back packs, but you also get the new Shaman Hero, boys, King Rastakhan. So he looks pretty cool. He's part of like WoW lore, but it's a little bit after my time. I don't really know too much of the WoW lore of King Rastakhan, but some people are pretty happy with that, so why not? So these are the 4 cards that we had revealed to us at the very start. Can I click on them? No, let me see if I can maybe go to this section here. That's a nope. Okay. Yes, we can maybe get bigger ones. Yes, bigger ones. So let's start with the Legendary. This is the Paladin Legendary. This is like the Loa. So I have been mentioning that since about a year and a half, 2 years ago, somehow Blizzard tries to find an excuse to give every single class a second legendary. That's kind of like their style. And, we had legendary weapons for every class, legendary quests for every class, legendary spells for every class. So it's like something new. And like for this expansion, I'm like, well, they're going to run out of cards. I don't know what else they'd come up with. Basically, they kind of cheaped out a little bit, and we're getting just legendary minions, but they're just super highly synergistic with the class you're given. Honestly, it gives me the old god feel, so while it feels like, they're just minions, at the same time, the Old Gods and Whispers of the Old Gods, they were just minions as well. So, I don't think we should trash them for that. I think it might actually be a very refreshing way to play the game. And speaking of that, while I have certainly been very happy playing Arena these last few months in this expansion, I know many of you guys have had many complaints about Constructed, as you are not playing any new cards from this current set in your Constructed decks. And last expansion, it was kind of the same thing. This expansion, it's the last one of the year. It's going, I don't think they talked about when it's going to launch, but it has to launch this year. It's the third expansion of 2018, so it's going to be a high power level expansion. But hopefully it's not too high, because if the power level is too high, it's going to undermine the first few expansions of 2019. So, some of these cards look pretty powerful. Some of these cards look deceptively powerful, but just keep in mind, I think it is by design that this expansion has fairly strong cards. Okay, so back at it here. Paladin Legendary, Shirvala the Tiger. So it's a 25 mana cost card. Hello, Holy Wrath. Hello. Should be pretty fun with that. Divine Shield, Rush, and Lifesteal. So it's an absolute board swinging, life swinging monster on the board. It's a beast, doesn't really matter. 7/5, that's a huge heal. Just very, very powerful card. You can obviously get its mana cost down to 0. I believe that if you play a spell and then draw the card later, the discount is applied. It's like a accumulated discount for at any point, anywhere in your deck, which is how it should be. Otherwise, it's total garbage. But let's assume it works that way, because that's probably how it will work. So the card is quite good, but it is breaking the archetype of what Paladins do. Paladins have been very strong at proactively putting up minions on the board. And while there are a few spells that do that, I don't believe there are enough spells that do that to warrant just putting this card in that deck. You have to modify those decks heavily enough that they're no longer really aggressive Paladin decks. This is basically a card that you're going to see a lot of power from decks with many control options, with actual big spells, with things like Spike Ridge Steeds. That's where this card is going to succeed. So it is playing basically a mid-range or control Paladin. Possibly it's going to work in aggro, but why would it, right? Would this card really be that good in aggro decks? It'd be pretty good, but I don't think it's really designed for that. So while it's a very strong card, we don't really know where it will fit, as we're not seeing anything but odd or even Paladins, aggressive ones that is, in today's decks. All right, then we have Spirit of the Shark. They did mention that every class is going to have a spirit, and every class is going to have a spirit of rare card rarity. So it's the blue gem there. So they're not going to be that hard to get. This is the Rogue one, 4 mana, 0/3, stealth for 1 turn. Your minions' battle cries and combos trigger twice. There's obviously tons of cards with battle cries, tons of cards with combos. So, and I'm sure there's going to be more in the upcoming expansion. Sure, we can wonder and think of all the crazy things that can happen, but there's going to be more crazy things that can happen than we can currently think of. So let's just leave that for now. What's important is a lot of these are going to have like stealth. But it's stealth for 1 turn. It's not a battle cry, so we just had like the 4 mana 4/4 battle cry stealth until next turn guy in the last expansion. This is not that. This card just has stealth. So if you somehow evolve into this, if you pull it from your deck, maybe the Druid Spirit costs 4 or less, so maybe you can guarantee the Druid Spirit from Oaken Summons. That stealth will activate. Okay, it's stealth for 1 turn, kind of like just an ongoing ability. So it happens once, but it's not a battle cry, and that can certainly be significant in some cases. It's also important to note that these spirits seemingly will have very bad stats, and if they're all going to have like 2, 3, 4 health, even if they have stealth, that doesn't really guarantee survival. If you can counter a Spirit of the Shark combo deck by playing, almost every single mage board clear, almost every single warlock board clear, a whole bunch of hunter cards, any mass board clear from Paladin, you get the idea, right? If these things are easy to kill, it's very difficult to have like a deck-defining theme from the card. Okay, so this is mostly like if you're playing a lot of battle cries and you're playing a lot of combos, this card's probably very good for you. I think it's wrong to think of these cards as one-turn kill combo defining decks because they will fall short as while they have stealth, they're not going to have enough stats to survive the next turn where you can really get going. But maybe there is like a one-turn kill combo that allows you to actually spend 4 mana first. Seems unlikely, but who knows? Certainly Wild is the arena for that. Sharkfin Fan, 2 mana, 2/2 pirate. After a hero attacks, summon a 1/1 pirate. When you have heroes that attack a lot of the time, you're typically playing tempo/aggro decks, so it's just going to be a natural fit in those. Obviously, a very good card for those decks. But the main deck that uses this mechanic is Odd Rogue, and it is not an odd card, so there's no guarantee it'll see play, but it is certainly a high power level card in that type of deck, so we can certainly expect this card will see a little bit of a showing. And the last of 4 cards we had revealed in the initial opener is Sultrace. I don't remember where this weapon is from, but I'm pretty sure I had this weapon in World of Warcraft somehow. It's certainly one of the notable ones that people remember. I believe it's now that I remember, I believe there's like 2 epic weapons and you like combine them together and it's like a level 40 something, level 50 something weapon, very rare one. I don't know exactly, but yeah, it certainly rings my bells, and it features the overkill mechanic. So how does the overkill mechanic work? It is an on-trigger effect if you do more damage than needed to kill your target, basically. So the way this works is if your opponent has like 4 minions with 3 health, you can kill all 4 of them. Now, if you're using this weapon that way, it's kind of terrible because, you know, you're going to take like 12 damage and you might as well just use a board clear. And this costs 6 mana. So, you know, when you first look at a card like this, like, well, I'm just going to overkill one, then overkill another. I'm going to attack and kill so many things all at once. This card is actually not designed to be used that way, even though that's the first logical thing that you think of when you think of using this card in a deck. It's just not good enough to be used that way, but it is good enough to be used in other ways. So the main thing that sets this card apart from others, particularly for warrior weapons, is it does an absolute shit ton of face damage. So it is 6 mana, hit your opponent in the face for 16. Is that good? Oh yes. That is good. And it's actually a little bit better than that because think of it this way. So you're doing face damage and your opponent plays like a small taunt. Well, you can kill the taunt and still get your face hit in for the turn. But wait, it's even better than that. If you combine this with weapon buffing cards, which Warrior has quite a few of, it's suddenly scaling like crazy. If you combine this with even like Heroic Strike, imagine your opponent plays like a 6 health taunt. You can Heroic Strike, one-shot the 6 health taunt, and then hit your opponent in the face with the additional Heroic Strike damage in addition to the high base attack of the weapon. So this card certainly has promise. Obviously, it's not going to carry kind of like a Pirate Warrior-like deck all by itself, but it certainly has the making of greatness for the true Pirate Warrior fans. So I guess I really hate this card because I don't like Pirate Warrior, but it looks like a card with a high enough power level that could see play, and it's an archetype that, well, I certainly don't like. It's an archetype that we haven't seen in a while, and it might resurrect and change up the meta in a good way, hopefully, at least. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you guys are enjoying the BlizzCon coverage. I'll have more of these videos for you guys. Check out the other ones as well. You will enjoy them. You'll keep up to date. And, well, you get to hear the most important thing of them all, my opinion on everything, of course. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.